gyms like ours, it is a community. It's not just a big box gym that like you're just a number, you're just a paycheck, you're just an invoice to them. You're an actual person that we care about. And it's really fat loss clients.
100%.
100%, right? So that's what we want. We don't want weight loss, we want fat loss. Because we don't want muscle mass to down.
Correct.
As we age, we want muscle mass to go up or at least stay where we are.
And the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn every day.
Right. Protein, huge, 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 huge. Try to eat 2 big pieces of chicken breast. Like, it's almost impossible.
But what happens if I do all this strength training and I don't get enough protein?
Your body will start literally eating itself.
We're 100%.
Literally eating itself. It's gonna start eating your own muscle mass.
All right, so today we're gonna welcome Joey Taraborelli. No, let's do that again. We'll start right now. So today we're gonna welcome Joey Taraborelli, who owns JTAB Training, Strength and Conditioning, I'm assuming,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So we're gonna talk about a lot of things. The first thing I wanna talk about though, and this is probably the biggest question, is why don't you think more people understand the importance of fitness and can be consistent with it?
I think a lot of it comes down to like the whole like everything's instant gratification, right? There was a video on Instagram, of course. If you do it one day and you look in the mirror, nothing changes. Do it 2 days. Go to the gym 2 days, nothing changes. 3 days, nothing changes. You know, it takes months to see changes, and people need that instant. Like the cell phones are instant. We can look up anything we want on Google. On our phones, we get instant gratification from a picture, a video, like on Instagram, on Facebook, on everything's instant. Fitness is not, right? Even if you start a running program, like it might take weeks to be like, oh my God, my half a mile distance or time is much better now. It takes time. And I think we live in that instant gratification world now that like, it needs to be like that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So before I came here, I was meeting with a client and we weighed them in on the in-body, right? Mm-hmm. So the body,
right.
For people who don't know, the fat, the muscle mass, the water, stuff like that. And we were doing a 14-day check-in and she's been doing great. So we do the meeting and I think she was down like from last 2 weeks, like 1 pound on the in-body, right? So I started looking at her stats and I was like, have you been taking the protein? And she was like, no, I got frustrated at the scale at home, so I stopped. So I looked at her and I was like, well, listen, like very nicely.
Yeah.
There's not really relatability between scales, right? And especially depending on the time you weigh in or what you're wearing, whatever. So just weigh in with me, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, I got frustrated, so I stopped taking the protein for 2 days. Okay. So now it's like, I need to educate people. I just made a video on this. Like, again, it's not instant, right? But like, you want to continue to do the habits that are going to get you to where you want to go.
Long term, right?
Long term.
Yeah.
When you're frustrated, don't stop those habits, right? So I look at her in-body, and in 2 weeks, she was down 4 pounds of fat, right? So the scale didn't represent at home, especially like what changed in her. But if you drop 4 pounds of fat, 2 pounds a week, that's great.
It's awesome.
And I was like, her muscle was up a little bit, and I think of water, but I was like, you know, for those 2 days, if you didn't stop the protein, right, we probably could have had more muscle mass gains, right? Because you need the protein to build. So it's really about being able to take somebody through that journey. And that's why they need a coach like you, right? Because how many people give up on New Year's? They start with, it's like 2 weeks, 90% are done.
Right.
As a coach, what do you bring to somebody? And you do a lot of sport-specific training as well.
We do,
which we're more like weight loss for women. But like, as a coach, like, what is your role to help either somebody who wants to lose weight, gain muscle, or even in sports?
I just try to like hit home the importance of consistency. We talked offline, taking whatever time frame you want to, like, let's say the whole Thanksgiving to like after New Year's off, like that's a big chunk of the year. Like you can't just take that time off. Like your body doesn't know that that's like holiday time and like, oh, I'll just kind of stay put, right? I'll keep my muscle mass even though you're not lifting and you're not pushing. I'll keep my body fat down low. I'll keep all my other health markers down. There's more stress in the holidays. There's more eating. There's more
Which
cookies.
means you should be working out more.
There's more temptation for any kind of sweets, cakes, cookies, pies, higher calorie foods, like we're both Italian, really, half Italian. So we got the lasagna, the chicken parms, the higher calorie foods during Christmas time. Thanksgiving is like a lot of high calorie foods for obvious reasons. And that's the time you probably want to get in a little bit extra work. It's not the time to take the whole 2 months off, 3 months off, whatever.
And we know, like, once you take those 2 or 3 months off, like, it's harder to come back later on.
Of course.
Right? And we talk about those habits.
Right.
So we tell people at the studio, like, eat whatever you want on Thanksgiving, eat whatever you want on Christmas. That's not going to kill your gains.
Right.
But like you said, you still have to come work out.
Right.
You can't just eat whatever you want and stop. Because once we lose that momentum of working out, then it's hard. Now, we're fitness people. And I think people would be surprised to hear some days we don't want to work out.
There's tons of days.
Right? But you still do it because it's a non-negotiable.
Right.
For those people who are not fitness people, right? And that's the majority. I saw a stat, I think I shared it. It was like, I think Rhode Island was like the 5th highest in obesity in the United States.
Yeah.
Or something
that's bad.
That's not good.
Yeah.
And there was like high for kids and adults, which means that people are not into fitness. They're not into eating well because you wouldn't have that stat.
Right.
What is your advice to them to get started? Now, the way big box gyms make their money is by having people sign up at a low price and then not going.
Right.
That's the business model. Right. For us, it's totally opposite.
Right. So we run sort of similar, like the semi-private, small group, touch gyms that we want you to be there because we want you to get results. Like, yes, it's a higher price point than Planet Fitness, than any other big box gym, but they don't want you to come. We actually want you to come, and you're going to pay more, but you're going to get hands-on. Like, Dr. Mark's a great trainer, therapist. I think I've been in the business for a long time. All my coaches are really good coaches. We want you to come because we know we can help you. We know we can give you good results. But if you don't come, then you don't get those results. So that's the difference between like a big box gym.
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to value because you could be expensive. I don't care if you're $300 a month or more. If I'm coming to you and getting results, that's worth it.
Right.
That's worth it more than me paying $10 a month and not going.
Right.
The cash might be different, but the value is totally different.
Right.
And that's a better value.
Right.
And like, if all this did working with Joey is made you live 3 years longer, would that not be worth it?
Right. At the end of your life, it's like, oh my God, I got 3 more years, I got 5 more years, I got.
Yeah, and this is,
or even like by lifting and by working out consistently with a good coach. Every time, like a lot of times people say, like you feel 10 years younger. Mm-hmm. So isn't that worth its weight in gold?
Yeah, and I think one of the things, like I tell people, like fitness is challenging because we get to sign you up and then we got to get you to do it, right? Or martial arts, we got to sign you up and get you to do it. It's not like we're selling a vacuum where you just buy it and then, especially if it's a robot vacuum, it does itself. We have to actually, get you to do it.
You got to put the work in.
You have to put the work in. Right. So it's like a double edged as coaches. Like you have to be good at what you do. And I work mostly in the fitness side with women over 35, 40. And it's really a mental game. Yeah. The more I start talking to these women, so for me, like I'm a guy, I'm short. I had no option but to lift weights.
Yeah.
Right? Like as a man being short under 5'5", like I'm not going to get any attention from anybody. Like let's be honest. So I had to work out. Yeah. I often say to myself, like if I wasn't short, I wouldn't have been so successful because I wouldn't have to try so hard. If I was like 6'5", like would I have to work out?
So I'm the same. I played a predominantly tall sport. I played volleyball in college. I had to lift weights to jump high, to be able to block people that were 6'4", 6'5", at 5'9". So that same thing. Like I was weak, scrawny, and short coming through high school, playing volleyball, which predominantly was a tall man sport or tall person sport, right? And I did pretty well because I was lifting weights through college, and I could block people that were 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". They looked at me like I had, like in astonishment after I blocked them at being shorter than them. But I could jump high. I was pretty strong. I got strong shoulders now, and in college, from lifting weights, from always being consistent. I was always in the gym lifting weights.
It made you better
because I had to, right? I had to for my sport.
And I think most people need to have that desire, that contrast. Listen, a lot of people might come see us after they've been sick or they just got diagnosed with diabetes, right? Something that really pushes them like, I have to change this. But getting back to what I was saying, so with women, you know, because I'm just speaking because that's what mostly I work with. It's really a mental game.
Right.
And for guys too, but I work with women mostly, being consistent. But the muscle mass on women decreases faster after 40.
Right.
And there's studies now, if I'm not mistaken, where like the more muscle mass you have on you, the longer the longevity of how long you live. But not only that, the quality of life.
Quality.
As a physical therapist, you know, you'd see people in 70s or 80s. There's a stark contrast of people who took care of themselves and didn't. Right? But can you speak to like how important it is for women to have that muscle mass and be strength training?
Muscle mass is key. It's also good psychologically thinking about trying to build muscle, like put more weight on the bar. We talk about instead of just losing weight. It's, I don't say negative, but it's like such a draining, like get smaller, lose weight, like eat less, you know, like work out more. Like I want you to come in and get stronger. I want you to come in and put more weight on the bar. You lifted 120 pounds. I want you to lift 130 pounds. I want to see numbers go up.
Because that's an indicator how much muscle mass you have. Right.
Strength and muscle mass. So you talk about muscle mass itself in function, like functionality. If you're not strong enough at some point at 80, 90, 100 years old to pop up from your chair without putting a lot of effort in, that's a game changer when you get older. Playing with your grandkids on the floor. I talked about, like, I have a bunch of 50, 60, 7-year-old people. Like, at some point, you're going to have grandkids. If you don't have them already, you're going to want to get up and down off the floor to play with the grandkids.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that easily, like, you're going to sit on a chair and watch your grandkids play on the ground, and you're going to be like, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be on the floor with them. How is that? Like, that's everything.
Yeah, as your health declines, as your muscle mass declines, your quality of life goes down. Right. That's a very linear equation.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So, but now here's the issue, right? So some people, I was lucky. When I was like 13, 14, I had somebody take me into the gym who was older than me and show me how to lift weights.
Yeah.
Like I remember like one of the first days, and I'd always, because of martial arts, I'd always had muscle on me, you know, for a kid doing pull-ups. But I remember trying to, it was a big thing to bench. I think it was 35s on each side. What's that, 115? 115? I remember trying to do that. Yeah. But I had that, okay, like I'm gonna come back. And there's more to fitness than losing weight. Right? Can you speak to some of those things?
Yeah, I just said, like adding muscle and adding strength, like you talked about, like it adds years and adds quality years to your life. Like you can go hiking with whoever, your family members, you can go climb mountains, you can go do stuff, you can go skiing and not be like, oh my God, I'm not in good shape. Or you can go do anything, swimming, activities. You can go play, like pickleball is the big thing for the older generation, right? If you're not in good shape, you're either gonna break down, you're not gonna play well, you're gonna get frustrated.
You'll be in your house more.
Yeah,
you're not gonna want to go out.
But if you're in good shape, I got some pickleball players, 2 ladies in their 50s, they're like teammates. They're badasses in here. And they're crushing it, right? And then I got some other people that are like just starting to play pickleball or whatever, like actually using that as a good motivator to get in shape. Pickleball has been great for that. People want to get in shape now, like, oh, I'm started playing this pickleball sport. And it's a bunch of older people, like over 40, we'll say, over 30, past your like high school playing days. It's a new sport that a lot of like people in their 40s to 80s are playing. You have to be in good shape to do that, or else you're gonna again break down. You hurt yourself, tennis elbow, like name an injury that it's gonna happen, like on the court.
I see that a lot, and I think one of the reasons people come to me is I'm a therapist, but like they'll get an injury and they'll be like, I'm not gonna come to class, and I'm like, maybe it's their leg. I'm like, well, you have 2 arms. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like I had a lady come in the other day, and she was off an ad, so she comes in, she's on the phone. And I could hear her say, well, I didn't know this was kickboxing. I'm not gonna be able to do this. Like she's on the phone with her friend.
Yeah.
So she comes in, like she came in talking on the phone. And I was like, well, it's a good thing I'm a physical therapist. Right? Like I've had people do this with, I think in that case I said no legs. I meant 1 leg, right? We sit down in a chair.
Yeah.
Like if you have a will, you can modify exercise for anybody, right?
And that's what, working with a good coach, you can like at a smaller gym, studio, whatever you want to call it, like Dr. Mark and I's, 2 separate ones. He's in Cranston, I'm in East Greenwich. I've had a high school athlete had a cast, and I had him doing rows with 1 arm. I had him doing like lunges. I had him doing, and might have been body weight because he can't put dumbbells in both hands.
But it doesn't mean
dumbbell
you can't
in one
use
hand.
Other things.
Right. There's so many other body parts. Like people come in like or text me like, oh, I tweaked my back. I'm like, all right, we could still come in. And not that I'm a physical therapist, but I kind of know my way around the body a little bit now. I'm like, I want to see you. I want to see, maybe I can do some we can do some bird dogs with dead bugs. We can work your core. I can stretch your hips out. I can stretch your hamstrings out. You'll feel better leaving. Like they come in with they're like, oh, I don't want to come in. My lower back hurts. I can't do my full workout. You're not going to do a full workout. Maybe you're not going to deadlift 300 pounds, but you're going to get on the ground. You're going to do some stuff.
You do stretching.
I'm stretching.
I think, you kind of see it. And we tell people you need a coach because as you start your fitness journey, there's going to be roadblocks you're going to hit.
Right.
So like you said before, it's having the coach be like, just do this. And
Right.
you're like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't have to give up. I didn't have to do
Right.
this. Like, especially eating wise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People are tired of eating different things. And I was like, well, okay, you want to have low calorie popcorn that night?
Yeah.
Like, that's fine.
Sure. Yeah.
Just look at the calories.
Yeah.
Another thing too with nutrition, we can get onto this.
Yeah.
But before I do that,
Yeah.
the issues with people who don't know how to work out, going to a big box gym, right? I've talked to women. People are going to stare at them. They don't know what to do.
Right.
And I see this all the time. Like, and I would never say any kind of exercise is bad. But the women that have to lose like 100 pounds, like they're on the elliptical for 20 minutes because they don't know what else to do.
Right.
Like you need to do more than that if you really want to lose weight. I would never say not to do that.
Yeah, right,
But
right.
like if you're on the elliptical for an hour, you're wasting time.
Yeah.
Like we have other things I could do in that hour.
Yeah.
To really,
More beneficial.
but more beneficial,
Right,
right?
right.
The economy of time. So I
Right,
always
right,
think
right,
that to
right.
myself. But like, yeah, it's like they're afraid to go. They don't want to get hurt.
Right.
They don't know what to do.
Right, right.
Like, and then they have dudes coming around.
Right.
Leaving like that's why I like a studio for this, especially for women, is it's safe,
Right.
right? What are some of the mistakes you see?
Well, I want to go back to
Go for that.
my friend Tony Gentilcore talks about a trainable menu. So like I just tweaked my knee on Sunday. Luckily I squatted before I hurt my knee. I bench pressed on Tuesday, no problem, like with a tweaked knee, right? Because you're laying on a bench and benching. And I did some rows, right? Because you don't need your knee to do rows and bench press for the most part, unless it's really messed up. There's always something you can do, but he calls it a trainable menu. I think he calls it. There's always something you can do. Like you have a hurt arm, you have another arm, you have two legs, you have a core you can work, right? There's always something you can do. And if you're working with a good coach, you're paying for the service that we provide. You still come in. We want you to come in. We want you to tell us what's going on and have that connection, that talk, and then be like, all right, I can do this. We can do this, this, and this. We can't probably do this, but that's okay. We can do all this other stuff. There's always a ton of stuff you can do without re-injuring or tweaking the injury that you have.
How many times have you seen people leave here and be like, I'm just going to go to like a big box gym. It's cheaper. And I know when they say that to me, I know when people leave my studio, 95% of them, if not more, are going to gain the weight back. All right. Again, because if you're not, you're in your routine, you're working out. We designed the lesson plans for you. All you got to do is show up.
Yeah.
You're most likely not going to do that when you're out of the studio. And here's the thing. When people come in and they're a nurse or whatever, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I can't pretend to go look stuff on YouTube and be a nurse.
Right.
But most people think they can watch some videos and know how to lose weight or eat better. Right. And there's so much information out there that it's confusing. So our job is to simplify that, streamline it, and then get you the results, right? But what usually happens? Have you seen it where someone's like, they're like, you're too expensive, like, and go to a big box gym?
So I just made a post on Facebook talking about everyone's come up to me like years later or months later, be like, I was in the best shape when I was training with you.
I think I saw that post.
I was in the best shape when I was training with Joey. I'm like, all right, you can get back to it. Like, you can get back to it now. Like, I don't think he would, if someone hasn't trained with him for 2 years, I don't think he would shame them for coming back.
No, we welcome them back.
Welcome everyone back, right? I always say, once a J-Tabber, always a J-Tabber. Like, once you've been in here, you take a few years off, do your own thing, you're always welcome back in here, right? You're always part of the family. And that's why the small community of gyms like ours, it is a community. It's not just a big box gym that like you're just a number, you're just a paycheck, you're just an invoice to them. You're an actual person that we care about. We take the time to like teach you everything. If you take a year or two, whatever off, you're always welcome back in. It always hit me because it happened recently, and that's what prompted me for the post. I was like, I've heard this a lot of times before. I was in the best shape when I was training with you. I was like, all right, so what are the reasons why you stopped? Financially, I can't touch that, right? If it's truly a financial reason.
But here's the thing, and I'm just like devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
I listen to, like Alex Hormozy a lot, who did Gym Launch, who I'm been a part of for more than a few years now. And he's like, is it money or is it value?
Right.
He's like, because like if I told you that I could give you this Lamborghini for $10,000 and it'd be yours, you would instantly call everybody you know to get $10,000 to get that Lamborghini.
Right.
Because the value is perceived as being way more.
100,000.
Right?
200.
So for people who understand the value of fitness and what it does,
Right.
money's almost no issue, depending if you know you're going to get those results.
Right.
So it just becomes that, and we're hitting a little bit harder at times now.
Right.
So what are the extra things that people think goes? Gyms.
Right.
Well, again, we know what happens when your health goes. We've known that for a while.
Yeah.
We've also seen during COVID, there were people that got more fit and there's people that let themselves go, right? So fitness, in my opinion, because we're fitness people, is not something that's like extra activities.
Right.
It's something that you do every day.
Right.
Right?
Non-negotiable, like you said.
It's a non-negotiable. Right. So like, if Joey has all this knowledge and you're going to get results, isn't that, I'll pay you $300 a month, more valuable than spending 25 at a gym I'm never going to go to. So when people say I have a Planet membership, I go, and like, I never go. I'm like, oh, you're donating.
Yeah, right.
You're donating to the gym.
So they're multi-billion-dollar.
You know what I'm saying? Again, everyone's always welcome back, but like, it's not money, it's the value that you put into it.
Right.
Right. And it's our job to kind of educate them. Okay, like, well, now listen, because you've been working out with Joey, you didn't tear your ACL playing sports.
Yeah.
You won't know that because it didn't happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the strength training that you do prevented that injury and you never went through that.
Right.
However, you stop, you did XYZ, play pickleball, you tear your ACL. Well, you turned wrong, your quads weren't strong enough, like all that stuff.
Yeah. Not flexible enough.
Not flexible enough.
Because I'm making you, we might go over again my little breakdown of my training template. But I always make people do some kind of hip flexor stretch or some kind of like hip rotational stretch or a thoracic stretch, which will help prevent injuries on something like, again, pickleball is very popular now, right? You need to be able to have thoracic rotation, extension, to go grab a ball, to hit a ball. If you don't have that, what happens? Rotator cuffs. Injuries happen. If you don't have the pliability, flexibility, mobility to do that stuff.
Which you only get through exercise and movement.
Right.
Not a drug.
Right. Yeah.
There's no drug I know of that gives you more flexibility and movement. Right.
Taking a pill. Right. You have to put the work in. I think another reason is like, I think people are almost, I'm not say afraid to put the work in, but it's daunting maybe. But that's
for a lot of people, it's not fun.
Right. Not fun. Feels like work at first, I guess. And I tell people like, it might feel like this now, but like, when you start hitting some numbers, like I'm a strength coach at Core. When you start hitting numbers that like you never thought, like I have some like older ladies, like when you hit 100 pounds, like you lifted 100 pounds up off the ground, I'm like, you're gonna be like, holy crap, I just lifted 100 pounds. Like ladies in their 70s, like my mom trains with a bunch of her friends in their mid 70s, routinely well over 100 pounds. But their first time when they lifted 100 pounds off the ground, I was like, you just lifted 100 pounds off the ground. Like, they're like, holy shit, I just did that. Like, it's amazing.
It builds confidence. There's also a social camaraderie between everybody.
Of course. But confidence, self-confidence, self-esteem, like I'm a badass. Like, female, male, it doesn't matter. I'm a badass. Like,
and when people get older, and I've seen it as a therapist, like when people get older, they get more frail, and you don't have to, right? I'm a big believer that your body can stay healthy forever.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's just our thoughts start dictating what's going on. And getting back to that lady, she's like, I'm down 4 pounds of fat. She's like, I don't feel better. And I was like, that's because your thoughts about thinking it wasn't that have caused you to act a certain way, right? So it's really our thoughts really become things. And but as people get older, more frail, they're afraid to go outside. Right. I don't want to go out. Right. I can't walk the supermarket. Right. So like that's stuff that we can almost eliminate. By doing that. Right. But nutrition-wise. Yeah. Some tips for people who maybe are just getting started, and then I want to talk about the importance of protein. Yeah. How much? I don't have a number. Like there's again something in Google like you Google like your pounds that you weigh, and I don't remember numbers like that because again Google. Yeah, it's per person, and BMI is a garbage statistic. Right, BMI is crap. People say half your body weight in ounces. I guess that's like I honestly say a gold standard. Like 10,000 steps is a gold standard for walking.
is half your body weight. So if you weigh 300 pounds, even though you think you're only 150 pounds, you have to drink 150 ounces of water. You don't have to drink, you should drink more than 75 because you think you're 150, but you're 300.
But most people should be drinking more water than they are.
Right. So water, I think getting steps in, like if you're at the end of the day and you got 2,000 steps in, like that's not good. That's not good enough. If the day before you got 50,000 steps, okay, you can have that, but that's not usually the case.
That's a good point, because fitness is cumulative.
Cumulative, right. If you have a day that like you climb Mount Washington, New Hampshire, like, and the next day you're like kind of a couch potato, okay, those two average to over 10,000.
Because you need to rest and heal.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts, and we'll get back to nutrition, but what are your thoughts on, so like for me now, I try to work out every day, but on some of those days, it's just light, like I'll do the elliptical.
Yeah.
Right, and that's almost more for, I get stiff in the morning, right, from getting thrown on the mats.
Yeah.
So like the arthritis, which I don't need to get diagnosed with because I don't need a diagnosis to dictate.
Right.
I just know I'm stiff and I know exercise is going to get me there.
Right.
But mentally clear my head.
Yeah.
And I also can deal with stress more.
Yeah.
Better.
Relief, yeah.
By doing that. Do you say people should do like workout every day? Now, I'm talking like, what would you say? Most people I say 3 days a week at the studio, but for people like us, there's a difference.
Because I'm a semi-private, I'm not a class. I see people. Most of my people I see twice a week. Now, with that said, I'm pushing weight. Like that's like those are 2 heavy strength sessions a week. Some 3, if I go 5, but that's me. So 2 for the average person, gen pop. 2 heavy, I think should be, I won't say the minimum, but that should be a good number to hit.
Because it's going to take them longer to recover.
Longer to recover, because they're probably not sleeping great. They're probably not eating great. Get nutrition more in a second, and they're probably not drinking enough water. They're probably not doing enough steps. They're probably not stretching during the day. Like I'll be training people and I'll be stretching. Like I'll be lunge, lateral stretching, whatever, hip flexor stretches, shoulder stretches. I'll do some, shoulder mobility stretches. I'll just do stuff while I'm training people. Like by the end of the day, I've stretched more than most people have stretched in a half-hour stretching segment. Like it just over the time. In walking too. Like I'm walking around the studio all day long. I usually get I get a bunch of steps in, but I don't go for like, I've been a little bit lazy. I don't go for like hour-long cardio sessions. I get in bits and pieces.
Which is because you're smart. You understand fitness doesn't have to be this 1 hour of my day.
Right.
I can do little things throughout my day.
Little hits of it. Right.
Yeah, because for fitness, you need progressive overload, which means you need to lift heavier or do more endurance or do more than you did the day before. Yeah. But it could be cumulative over the day.
Yeah.
So as coaches, like we make small changes throughout the day. Okay, text me after you drink whatever, this amount of water.
Yeah.
Right? So stuff like that, but it's not changing everything. And I think it's important for them to see, like we're both fitness guys. We both do things a little bit differently, but that's okay because it's still fitness. Yeah. Right? It doesn't have to be one specific. Right. If you don't like kickboxing or you don't like strength training, but you like dancing, go do Zumba. Yeah, right. Totally fine. Yeah. The mode of exercise doesn't really matter, although you really want some strength training component. Yeah, sometimes, you could lose weight by sweeping every day. Yeah, right. Right, and eating as long as you do it intensely. As long as you do it intensely, and you get the broom to be a little heavier each day. Right. All right, so nutrition-wise, just a couple quick things that you would tell somebody. Protein, huge. How much should we get? So you talked about your client losing 4 pounds of fat and their muscle mass didn't decrease. That is huge. That is what we want. That's called body recomp. Even if your muscle mass didn't go up. So for those people know, so recomposition. So you change. Now here's 2 things. You don't change fat into muscle. You don't change fat into muscle. Fat into muscle. That does not happen. Right. You lose fat and put on muscle. Right. And muscle does not weigh more than fat. Muscle is just more condensed. Right. So for people who know that, right. But what he's saying is like we're switching how much of percentage of you is fat and how much is muscle, which is what we want. Right. So if you're like there's a lot of weight loss clients, and it's really fat loss clients. 100%. 100%, right. So that's what we want. We don't want weight loss. We want fat loss. Because we don't want muscle mass to down. Correct. Because we talked about, as we age, we want muscle mass to go up or at least stay where we are. And the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn every day. Right. And you'll be able to do stuff. You'll be able to get down to the ground. You'll be able to pick up your grandkids. You'll be able to, I always use grandkids as an example because that's a highly motivating thing for like grandparents, right? Yeah. Can I pick up my grandkids? Can I get on the floor with them? Like, because that's huge. So what's more important than that than like playing with your grandkids? Yeah, that's a functional goal. It's not. So keeping the protein high. Protein high, right. I like to see body weight and people are like, oh my God, I weigh 200 pounds. I need 200, what? I need what? I'm like, yeah,
If you want to change your body, you need to get to that point.
So if you weigh 200 pounds, we agree, I agree. Your goal is really 200 grams of protein each day.
Should be.
I tell people, you're really not going to get there without protein shakes. Like, you'd have to eat so much.
Chicken breasts.
That you'd be...
Tuna, like, it gets daunting and it gets...
Yeah.
Like, I tell people, like, try to eat 2 big pieces of chicken breast. Like, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible. Like, after one, you're like, oh my God, I'm stuffed. Right? And one big one would be 30... We'll say 30 to 40 grams, depending on the size of the chicken breast.
So you need about like 5 huge pieces of chicken breast.
Yeah.
Which is too much.
Try to eat that in a day. That's, obviously it can be chicken breast. It can be like tuna is a little more, I don't say palatable. It's easier to eat.
And there's other options.
There's other options.
But, okay, so, and this is...
We're just making an example.
So for my personal journey, I put on, now I've been short, right? So I could pack on muscle. I put on most of my muscle, in those teenage years, 13, 14, 15. I remember the summer between my freshman year of high school and my sophomore year of high school, I guess I put on muscle. Like, when it's you don't really notice it.
Course.
It's other people. And my buddy was like, yeah, the biology teacher asked if you were on steroids. And I was like, really? I don't know. Like, cause I worked out, but I did it. Well, I did back then in the 90s, I did a metric shake every night before bed. Yeah, and I'm a teenager, so my, hormones.
Right.
But for a while, probably in like my 20s and 30s, really, until I started getting into more of the fitness aspect, because I was a martial arts school first. Right. Like, I had protein shakes, I didn't have protein shakes. Some of the protein shakes, I didn't know, they went right through me.
Yeah.
I thought that was normal. I literally thought that was not, and I was a therapist at this time.
Yeah.
If you're having a protein shake and you have to go to the bathroom right away, that's not normal.
No.
Because not
an allergy to it.
Yeah, or not all protein shakes are made the same. But, okay, so that's one of the mistakes I made, is not having a protein shake pretty much all the time, when I'm working out or not. But what happens if I do all this strength training and I don't get enough protein?
Over time, you probably start to atrophy a little bit, because if you're working, you're not replenishing, you're definitely not getting stronger.
I'm not putting on the muscle.
Potential for injury, for sure.
Not healing.
Not healing. You're always gonna be sore, like always. When I get people up in protein, like, oh, I'm not as sore anymore. I'm like, yeah, go figure. And then like they're sold. They're like, oh, I see it now. Like, I get it.
Yeah, I tell people that you're almost wasting your gains. Yeah. And when I say gains, I'm a weight loss studio, I have to be like fat loss, right?
Yeah.
But for muscle, like, you're wasting your gains. You're not going to put on the muscle you want, because you don't have the building blocks to do it.
Right.
So your body's just going to take the protein from other areas, break down that muscle to bring it back to.
So yeah, I try to scare people sometimes. Your body will start literally eating itself.
We're 100%.
Literally eating itself. It's going to start eating your own muscle mass.
Because it needs the protein.
Right, it needs the protein for other things. It's going to start eating your bicep muscle or your quad muscle, there's no like first, second, third, fourth where it comes from. I'm just making a point. It literally starts eating itself. That's disgusting. Think about that. You need to get your protein in. 6 out of 7 days a week, I tell people. The 7th day, if you're under a little bit, okay, fine. Huge difference. More energy, get a recovery. You'll have better workouts the next week. The same day, blah, blah, blah.
And you're more full. So you're not going to want to eat.
You're not going to want to have the second serving of dessert. You may have half of a dessert, which cuts down calories overall, right? There's a bunch of different reasons to eat a lot of protein.
Do you have...
And the other thing is, if it's lean protein, your protein can almost not store as body fat. I did a cut last summer. I lost 13, 14 pounds, and I don't have a lot to lose. I overate protein every day. So I basically overate calories every day, and I lost weight.
So this is interesting, right? So I think on this journey, any journey you're on, you want to be the best, right? So the way it kind of transpired, I was a martial arts school, turned into like a self-defense school. That was my thing. Added a fitness kickboxing component. That's now turned into a weight loss studio.
Right.
I need different skills at each set. Like, if I'm just doing a martial arts, well, how do I teach kids? How do I teach younger kids? Kickboxing. How do I teach them the strikes, and how do I make the lesson plans? Now you get into weight loss. Well, I need to know the nutrition now. Yeah. I need to be able to coach them.
Right.
Because when you're doing kickboxing, you're just coaching them in the class. You're not coaching them through their daily stuff.
Right.
So one of the things I started doing is doing podcasts on protein.
Yeah.
I knew protein was important because I'm a muscle guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was as important as it is.
Yeah.
And in those studies, I believe they showed people overeating in protein and calories and still losing weight.
Yeah, that's me.
Compared to people who stayed within their calorie range and had less protein, the people who had more calories and ate them. So there's something in protein that like causes the fat to come off.
Yeah, it's the highest satiety rate of food. So again, that big chicken breast that you eat, you're gonna be you're gonna be so full. You eat pasta, you'll get hungry again in half an hour, right?
Yeah, and so
The whole like Chinese food thing, like you're hungry like an hour later, because usually Chinese food doesn't have a lot of protein unless you get like beef and broccoli or something. But if it's like noodles and stuff, that's all carbs and fat. And carbs and fat, like pizza, you're hungry an hour or two later because we didn't have the protein.
Yeah. Would you say one of the hacks would be to like, have a protein shake? Say you're going out, right? And you don't want to overeat, have a protein shake before, or like at night. I do most of my damage at night.
Yeah.
After, I'm very disciplined until after dinner.
Yeah.
And now I need to lose a little bit, so I have a protein shake after dinner.
Yep. So here's what I do every night. I made a post about this. I was like, 8 days out of 7, I have a protein yogurt bowl. Now I can't have the dairy yogurt, so I do a vegan yogurt, which has 0 protein. So I add extra protein. So I make a yogurt bowl. It's delicious. I add granola too because I want the carbs and a little bit of fat. I add a little bit of dark chocolate chips to it because I want taste and I can afford the calories. But it's got 50 to 60 grams of protein in my yogurt bowl. And I make my yogurt bowl, I eat my yogurt bowl at night when I'm watching TV. It's another hit of protein, and it satisfies me because it's delicious, and it keeps my muscle protein synthesis full for like that night and the next morning. With that said, just one more like thing about the protein. I tell people like you want to get hits of protein. You want to get at least 3. It's got to be more than 3. It's probably 3 to 5. 4 to 5 is great. Or 3 meals with a protein shake, or 2 meals with 2 protein shakes.
Are you saying eat throughout the day, like 5 times? With
yeah, like different hits of protein. Like
is that like 20 grams?
Morning, you need at least 20. I was going to say 25 grams per hit. So 25, 25, 25, 25, 25. You get 5 of those. You're at.
Yeah, because you can space it out.
Yeah.
Just like we talked about exercise, it doesn't have to be all in 1 hour, an hour and a half.
Right.
Like
and you don't want to do 100 grams of protein at dinner and nothing else. Because your body doesn't store protein. Your body stores carbs
that's
and
too
fat.
much at one sitting.
Right.
Yeah.
Your body stores carbs and fat. It does not store protein.
So now going through this journey, right? So we partner with Prestige Labs, who's the supplement company that we use.
Yeah.
So they have their protein, which, and I'm not even plugging this, like it's literally the best tasting protein I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
And I've had those proteins that went right through.
Oh,
you.
yeah.
But they also have their recovery drink, which is the amino acids.
Yeah.
So you have your proteins, your body has to metabolize that in the liver to break it down to the amino acids. And then you have your amino acid chain that you can have as a drink.
Yeah.
Thoughts on those differences?
Yeah, I do. I kind of fast in the morning, but I do an amino acid drink.
Is that with all the amino acids? Because from what I understand, a lot of the BCAAs, they only have like 3 of them.
BCAAs are 3, yeah. You want, the one I do is 8. There's
8, you want to have
9
all
essential, but you don't need, there's one you don't need.
Which is the one you don't need?
It's histamine,
okay.
I think.
Because I was confused.
It's like only
we don't know everything about fitness, but I thought there was like either 8 amino
Yeah.
acids, or there's 9.
There's 8 that you really need. There's one that like kids need, but we're not kids anymore.
Okay. At heart I am. And you like
biologically we're not.
Yeah.
So I do that. I do a double. So it's like 50 grams of protein shake, but there's no calories in it because it's already broken down.
There's no calories, right?
Right. So you're still fasting. There's like 1 calorie through whatever. But so you can still say you're fasting, but you're getting your protein. So that's a hit of protein. Then I do a shake after my workout, which is midday. Then I do like.
Would you say that with that though, right? Because for people who don't know, your body has to break down the protein into the amino acids to give it to your muscles. So this is like foregoing that step.
It goes right in.
There's no calorie. It goes right in.
Right.
So for recovery, and the amino acids are metabolized right in the skeletal muscle, because I looked this up the other day.
Right.
Don't think I'm a genius.
Yeah.
Right, into the skeletal muscle. So it's ready to use.
Right.
When I was at this physical therapy, I did my CEUs. I forgot, it wasn't on nutrition, it was on something else. And this is before I had like the weight loss stuff. And the instructor was like, you have your anabolic window, which the other day I was looking up, it's like 30 minutes to 60 after working out.
And they're even saying it could be a little longer now, but.
But he was like, your cells are the most receptive to protein or whatever in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that wasn't related, and I was like, oh man. So like, there's no way you can do a workout, have a protein shake, have it break down, and get to the muscles in 10 minutes.
Right.
15 minutes, right?
Right.
But those can, the breakdown.
Because they're already broken down.
It's already broken down.
Right.
So I think there's definitely a benefit for having your protein shakes, for your calories, stuff like that, but also having, in this case, your intra ready, drink it during your workout. So when you're done, it's already there.
Yeah.
Your body then doesn't have to eat itself.
Yeah.
right? Thoughts?
I do that. I do another amino drink before my workout because I'm still like fasted through my workout. I've started adding a little bit of carbs before my workout because I'm trying to bulk right now, but that's different. And it gives me some energy for my workout. But I'm still sort of fasted, so I do another amino drink before, so it goes right in. So while I'm working out, it's like usable. Right. And then I'll do my protein shake after, but I've already had the aminos. I've already had 3 scoops of aminos before my workout, so I'm good. I have my shake because I enjoy a protein shake. I put maple syrup in my shake for after workout, so I want carbs. That's another story. Yeah, so then I kind of go about my day.
Yeah, so now again, going on this journey, I'm like, wow, people need to have their amino drink and their protein. Like you really need to have both to really optimize, your recovery.
Yeah.
I before I started taking the amino drink, I was sore all the time from getting thrown on the mats.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that stopped it from me being sore.
Yeah.
Like that and yoga.
Because it goes right in.
Because it goes right in. My muscles weren't always beat up.
Yeah.
Do you see where a couple like hacks people can use? Like, so we have, people might know about like Kodiak pancakes versus regular pancakes. They're more protein based.
Yeah.
Fill you up quick.
The other, you have to look at all the different macros, but I'm guessing that the carbs are about the same in the Kodiak versus the regular. They just add protein. I don't say gimmicky, but it's at least you're adding the extra protein. I'll say have the regular pancakes, waffles, add a protein shake if you want.
Okay, do that.
Or you can do the Kodiak's fine, but there's nothing special to it. They're just adding protein to like the pancake batter mix. It's not like
and I don't know the exact macros, but like if that makes you more full, you'll eat less.
Right, of course. Right.
And I think people need to understand, generally speaking, it's about the calories, not about 0 fat, 0 carbs.
No.
Because it could be 0 fat, 0 carbs and still be horrible for your body.
Yeah, right.
And I was watching that, like when foods say like enriched, that's actually not healthy.
Right. You're putting stuff back in and taking it out.
It's just a marketing thing. Yeah, they take stuff out.
Oh, they're adding a little bit of vitamins.
Yeah. Do you take like a multivitamin?
I take a good whole food-based multivitamin. And this one has like vitamin D3 in it. So like if I forget to take my D3.
Are you vegan or no?
No, I know.
Okay.
No. I do try to take my D3 and that's good for like hormones. It's a hormone. Vitamin D is a hormone. Good for men's hormones, testosterone levels we talked about earlier. Sometimes I forget. So at least the multi gives you a little bit of vitamin D3. But it covers your bases, right? Some people say it's expensive piss, but I'd rather have expensive piss than be like, depleted on some multivitamin, some vitamins and nutrients.
I mean, yeah, but that's also like it's preventative versus reactive.
Yeah, it's topping off your levels, right?
Yeah, and the biggest thing...
The gas tank, the analogy.
The biggest thing with healthcare is that it's reactive.
Right.
Once you're reactive to something, you're already at a disadvantage.
Right.
Versus be proactive, don't have to be in the hospital.
Yeah.
Right.
Reactive stress levels.
Stress as well.
Right. Your stress levels are high when you're reacting to stuff. That's already happened.
Yeah, and again, not all situations can you prevent being in the hospital.
Right, of course.
But certain things like I need knee surgery because I'm 100 pounds overweight. How many people have you seen that have lost weight and don't need knee surgery?
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I tell people in PT, like,
when their surgeries go better.
Every surgery goes better. They put you to exercise before the surgery.
Right. So I've had people lift the day before I had surgery, and their recovery is like so much better.
100%, because the muscle, you can always make muscle.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're 107 years old.
Right.
You can always build more muscle.
Right.
But like, I tell people now, like if you were in therapy and you had knee pain and you're 60 pounds overweight, there's nothing I'm going to do in therapy to help you get better with that knee pain. I can make it better for a little bit.
Yeah.
But the underlying factor is the weight.
The weight.
Right? So like it really comes down to those, that continuous exercise. Before I switch gears real quick, anything else you want to say about fitness or nutrition?
Going back to nutrition, like we talk about protein, super important. If you're working out as intense as I see his videos that they are, and
I thought you were going to say the shirt because it's so tight.
Well, that too. But you need carbs. And one particular client that you have that I know kind of well, my cousin, I think she needs to eat more carbs because she works out like a fiend.
She does.
Like a fiend.
Well, have you talked to her about her cookie eating?
I haven't.
Oh, yes, it's a lot.
All right. But I see her on holidays and she eats. But her
podcast is going to be aired before this one.
All right, good. Hi, Jen. Carbs. You need them, especially when you're working out. Crazy. You will still see fat loss when you're eating carbs and working out because you need the energy. If you don't have the energy to work out, you're going to work out at 50% of your potential, you think you're going to get the muscle mass and the muscle gains and the strength gains and the intensity if you have half the energy? No, you're not.
And fitness and nutrition go together.
Right, of course.
Right? Because like, could you lose weight just by eating and eating better, not working out? Of course, but you're not going to put on the muscle.
Right.
Can you work out and eat horribly and not lose weight? You know, so they go together.
But it's harder.
It's harder. And I tell people that like even small steps, like over time, but like any workout is better than no workout. Is what I say. Switching gears, a couple last questions. So for you, you run your own business. And so we're in Rhode Island, which was ranked like one of the worst places for small businesses in the nation. What are your thoughts on like entrepreneurship, on being a small business owner, your journey? What have you learned?
Been in business 12 years, long story short. Started out much smaller studio than this. I kind of outgrew it needed a bigger shell. Every day you've got to work. Like there's no days off. Like the whole mantra, no days off. You never have a day off if you own your own business.
Even if you're home, you're still thinking about it.
Yeah. Like this is my morning off. This is Wednesday, my morning off. I'm doing this for business. I'm going to go to a coffee shop.
I thought you were doing it for me.
For you too, huh?
Okay.
We're doing it for both our businesses, right?
Yeah. Not because we dated the same girl?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
We dated the same girl. That's how we know each other.
Not at the same time.
Yeah, not at the same time. I'm going to a coffee shop to do work on my morning off that I should just be gallivanting around and having fun. Owning your own business hopefully will be fun. If it's not fun, then you're going to hate every single second of it. You love what you do, right? Or you wouldn't be doing it. Or you'd be like miserable.
And there's times you don't
yeah, you're not going to love it every single second.
Last night we had to rearrange it, and I was moving stuff all night.
Yeah.
When I wanted to be doing other things.
Right. You want to be home or whatever.
Yeah. I was eating apple pie the other night, thinking about like how I'm going to rearrange the studio, and then thinking about I didn't prepare questions for you. I don't know if I was thinking that while eating the apple pie or later, but like you know what I'm saying? Like you're just never. But you learn.
You're never off.
You're never off.
You're never off.
Like I want to take a vacation. I'm like, when am I going to take a vacation? Who's going to do the sales?
Right.
But when I'm on vacation, I'm still going to have people messaging me.
Right.
So it's this lifestyle, which I wouldn't change.
Right.
I love it. But what have you learned about yourself?
I don't know if it's good or bad, but I have some periods that I'm like I'm on fire, business related, and there's times I'm kind of like coasting. Like I'm glad I set up stuff before because I'm kind of like tired.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like coasting, and then I'll have like upswings, and I'm like, go. I'll get a ton of shit done. Not that I can coast the next whatever period, but there's like those
ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows, right? And when you're up there, you gotta do stuff because there's gonna be some down points.
What's the payoff for you? I think I know what you're gonna say. But I'm gonna let you answer.
The payout is you're helping people.
Yeah.
Like you're helping people. People say like I've been in the best shape of my life training with you. Like I could do this. I had a mid 50-year-old guy like years ago. He's still training with one of my other coaches, Coach Steve, that I just met. He's in pretty good shape. Like you wouldn't know, but like he has these big heavy ACs, window ACs that like he had struggled like lifting by himself up and down like 3 stairs, 3 flights of stairs. And again, he's decently pretty strong, but like, they're pretty daunting. After lifting with me, like I would use that example, like he could do it. Another example, I have a female, she's black belt in 2 martial arts, actually currently, really strong. She'll go to like 50-pound bags of either cat food or or mulch or whatever at Home Depot, and she'll go to pick it up by herself, and like the guys will run over and like, oh, let me help you with that. She's like, no, I got it. She's literally strong enough to do like 2 or 3, like probably 2 50-pound bags and carry by herself at once. Like she's that strong because she's been lifting. I love to hear those stories. Like you probably also. And me, it's more like the strength related stories like that. Like I have a mid 50-year-old lady can carry easily a 50-pound bag out of the store easily, like all day long. Like she could do it for like miles. She probably can do 2 and didn't need help and told the male worker that like, no, I got this. I don't need you. Like, it's like empowering. And I love to hear those stories. And that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, I think that's the payoff, right? Like we were talking before, as far as business goes, like we have to get you to sign up to do the work and be consistent.
Right.
Like that's a lot, and that's a lot on somebody coming in.
Right.
But the payoff is like, oh, like I see your face.
Yeah.
You're down 30 pounds.
Yeah.
You've done this. You even in the martial arts, like that person doesn't pick on you anymore. Right. You see the confidence kind of go up, especially because we teach kids too in the martial arts.
Yeah.
Like they start.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's like you had a small part of who they are and who they became.
Yeah.
And in this case, you're doing it through the gym.
Yeah.
You could be doing it through violin. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You're helping somebody because you know where you are, you know where they want to go, and you know how to get them there. Right. And obviously, money's great. You need money for freedom.
Yeah.
And that's how we reward people. But it's really I helped this person.
Right.
And now you have athletes, so they go on to college.
Yeah.
Do you get a cut if they make it to like the majors?
Yeah. No, maybe.
You sure write that?
I got one that's on his way to MLB, and hopefully he'll give me a little. No, just knowing that I helped him. But that same lady, she again, like, talk about consistency. Like, she got to the point where she literally, this is more important than almost anything else in her life. Like, she works, she has 4 kids, they're all older now, but she plugs this into her schedule. Like, these are non-negotiable hours. And if she can't make it one time because she's got a doctor's appointment or her kid's got a doctor's appointment, she's like, I'm coming the next day.
100%.
I'm definitely coming the next day. She's a teacher, so she needs that stress relief because she's dealing with kids all day. She's like, I want to tear my hair out, right? So she loves slamming on the ball, and she loves lifting heavy weights, and that is her stress relief. She makes sure she gets in. That's non-negotiable, right? You talked about that's a great term. It happens. Like there's no time it doesn't happen.
And life pops up, right?
Yeah.
And again, sometimes, like for instance,
but if it's 95% of the time, that's still non-negotiable. Like that's still pretty
95%.
good.
I love that because today I skipped my workout to go to the studio because I had to get it ready.
Right.
However, I knew yesterday I worked out.
Because you own a business.
Because I own a business. But now I worked out yesterday. I spent 2 or 3 hours. Like when we talk about renovating a studio, it's like taking the weights everywhere.
Yeah.
I did that for 3 hours last night. I knew we were going to do some stuff here. You're going to show me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I still fit it in my head.
Right.
But yeah, 95%.
Right.
Now, a couple things. What do you think of this quote? Comparison is the theft of joy, right? Because, for instance, Jen.
Yeah.
And we talk about the podcast. I've never seen somebody more fit come into my studio than Jen.
Yeah.
Ever.
Ridiculous.
And I was like, people like always compare themselves to you, Jen, on the podcast. We do the podcast Friday. One day, somebody came in and she was like, but I don't kick the bag like her. And she wasn't even there, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone compares themselves to Jen because she's like the epitome of that in our studio.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, she's a beast in the best possible way.
Right.
You don't have to be like that.
Yeah.
But also, she didn't start like that.
No.
So whether it's comparison in the fitness studio, in life, like what do you thought? Because I always compare, right? And we were talking about fake Instagrammers.
Yeah, right.
Right, all these online coaches who are making, I think it was $1 trillion a year.
Yeah. We all compare. I do it all the time. I do it too much. Everyone does it too much.
Especially in this age of social media.
Yeah, it's gotten out of hand. At some point, like, they don't care about you, first of all. They're not going to put the work in. Like, you got to put the work in yourself to better yourself. Like, I know, like, it's hard to be like, oh my God, that person on Instagram looks so much better than me and blah, 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 and stronger and more in shape.
Or it could be Photoshopped.
Right, yeah, right. But you still see that image and you're like, I want to look like that or I don't look like that, so screw it, At some core, like, you need to better you. Like, that 1% better every day or whatever. Like, just, you got to focus, you got to refocus. Like, it's tough to refocus when you're inundated with Facebook, Instagram, whatever, TikTok. But you have to go back to your core is like, no one cares about you more than you, and probably just like no one, no one's
coming to save you.
Right, or no one's coming to save you too.
I think it was Alex who said that, like, no one's coming to save you.
Right.
It could have been someone else, but that's the gist.
You can save yourself.
You have to save yourself.
You have to save yourself.
Right? And so for you then, we grew up, you're a little older than me, but like the 80s?
80s, yeah.
So when you work out, I know you're a big Hulk fan. We're talking the Green Hulk.
Yeah.
I'm a big Hulk Hogan fan.
Yeah, okay.
But like, who or what do you aspire to look like, right? Because for me, man, it was, and there's this thing where like all the action heroes of the 80s were jacked.
Yeah.
They were all on steroids.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like WWE wrestlers like back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they were shredded, they were big. You always had that Van Damme, like, you know, those martial artists for me.
Yeah.
People you like want to look like?
Well, I was fascinated by the Hulk. Born in '77, that's when Incredible Hulk, Lou Ferrigno, who I actually just met and got his signature, took a picture with him at the Comic-Con in November, which was pretty cool. He's a monster. He's still a monster. Huge.
He's one of the only ones, if I recall, like that still kept his size to a relative degree.
He's still pretty big, yeah.
Because some of these guys have definitely, because they're off the juice.
Yeah. He's definitely, I mean, he's smaller, but he's 70-something years old. He's still pretty good shape. But like I saw him on TV and I was fascinated with the muscles. He had green paint on, but like muscles were like just bursting out. Nowadays, like all the superhero movies I watch, Captain America, that could be his height, that'd be great too.
Speaking to the choir.
6 whatever too. But I like his physique. Then you got like Thor and like his physique and
so like the muscles.
What I call people, I made another podcast and it was like, I could call it superhero muscle. Because it's like, that's my goal, like to get people to move well, like a superhero. Leaps, jumps, bounds, they all do it, right? They all jump, they all leap. They're all athletic and they're all strong and they're all like, they look like a bodybuilder, they act like an athlete, they move like an athlete. They're as flexible as a yoga instructor. They have everything. So like that's my shtick. That's my superhero physique, my superhero muscle, my superhero training.
That's kind of like you've seen that in the UFC, like that be the best in the body to fight.
Right.
Right. You have muscle on you, but you're still lean and you're mobile.
You're mobile. Right.
Versus like, you know, the big.
Right.
The big brawlers.
Like the Spider-Man flexibility, the Hulk strength, and like maybe the power of like Thor or whatever.
Yeah.
Captain America.
And the nice locks of hair.
Yeah.
So last question. So someone's watching this. They want to start a fitness routine. They're frustrated, right? Because we know when someone's tried something else, they think everything's the same. They're like, I can't lose weight.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if they did, I was going to say Joe, but they did Tommy's program down the street and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And they're coming to you and they already think your program doesn't work.
Or it worked and they stopped it and then like they've gained the weight back.
They gained the weight back. So they think they can't keep it up.
It's like, right. It's not like you're not learning protocols, health habits.
You're not keeping the habits.
Right. Health habits. Just like you said, your client, like she dropped the protein shake and then I was like, you should have kept the protein shake, dropped maybe a cookie or half a cookie or like dropped whatever.
I think myself included, we're all in our head too much.
Right.
I do think with like technology that's more common.
Oh yeah.
Like if we weren't like mobile nodes of communication, like bing, bing. I'm doing this podcast. I'm like, how many messages am I have?
Right.
If this was 1950, you wouldn't have that.
No.
You know?
Like, we're just hanging out.
I mean, we've dressed better.
Yeah.
But so someone wants to start working out. What is Joey Taraborelli's advice?
Start. Like really just start. I listened to another podcast today, the one that I was on, Muscles and Macros. Great podcast. And I was on it talking about my superhero training. And they just did one, just get on the bike. Just get on and start pedaling. And you figure it out. Like there's like so many, it was a great example. Like there's like, you can read so many pamphlets and Google tutorials, YouTube tutorials on how to ride a bike until you get on the bike and actually pedal, like, and learn the balance and coordination. You don't know how to ride a bike, or you can't ride a bike.
One of my favorite.
Just start riding the bike.
One of my favorite Abraham Hicks quotes.
Yeah.
And
which I went to one.
I know you were there. Yeah, you were with Sherry.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time we met.
But yeah, it was.
So we had Abraham Hicks, and they say like words don't teach, only life experience teaches. Right. So basically, you have to do it.
Right.
And you could tell me 1,000 times like not to do that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do that thing and like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Like that's how life works.
Yeah.
To do it. But again, I think the base is just start now, start today.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you don't start, that's why, people, you probably see that. I'm going to leave it on this. I'm going to start after the holidays.
Right.
No, you should start now.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So we can get you a routine. So when January 1st comes, then you're already comfortable here.
Right.
And it's already something you come back to.
Because what I talked about before, like your body doesn't know this is holiday season. I mean, it knows because you're probably eating more calories and maybe moving less because you're so busy, but you're really
drinking more.
Holiday parties come up, like your party, your work party, your husband or wife's work party, your family members' work party, kids parties, all holiday parties, a million holiday parties in this like 2-3 week stretch. So it never ends. Like, right. So yeah, like just start. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. People wait for the perfect time, right?
There's no perfect time.
It's another, like the perfect time doesn't exist. It's not 10 years ago, not 10 years going into the future. It's like right now, like you can start right now. You can just go for a walk. Even if it's like, I don't care if you just pick up some dumbbells, do some bicycle curls, which for the most part, people can't mess up doing bicycle curls.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, and I think
just get the blood flowing. Just do something. Like, oh, I actually feel better.
I think if people from this podcast take away the fact that you need protein, number one, and number two, that like it's over time. It's the changes over time. Right. But if you don't take that first step, you don't get those changes over time.
Right.
And again, like we tell people, you didn't put on 50 pounds overnight.
No.
You're not going to take it off overnight. Right. And if for some reason you did, the likelihood of you rocketing back up is there because you didn't have the habits.
Right.
You know, if you were stressed and didn't eat, or whatever, like you didn't develop the protocol needed.
And people say they you know, over the holidays, like, oh, I gained 10 pounds over the holidays. It's like water retention and all that stuff. But you probably didn't gain. You can't. It's almost impossible to gain like 10 pounds of fat over a month period. Like it's almost impossible.
Which is why I said on Thanksgiving or Christmas, eat what you want.
Yeah.
You're not gonna damage yourself that much.
No,
unless you're
those are 2 meals.
Yeah, unless you're doing like, eating and drinking.
Even 2 days out of 365, that's over 90 whatever percent.
Yeah.
Right.
So you'll be fine. Have
80, 20, 85, 15.
Because don't you think it's more about sustainability?
Right.
And you think forever you just need to be eating chicken breast? No. You're gonna have the apple pie.
Yeah.
You're gonna have that drink.
Yeah.
But if we have protocols in place to keep you level and adjust
and minimize the alcohol, minimize the cookies, cakes. You can have it, but maybe not have it every day.
Not every day. Definitely not every day.
Right. 2 every day, 3 every day. Don't have a whole sleeve of cookies every day, like every night.
Right.
Like, probably not good.
Are you speaking to me personally?
Yeah. I'm tracking. That was a personal tag.
Well, Joey, thank you for this. So what are you gonna show me? You're gonna show me like we'll do some exercises.
Yeah. I'll put you through like a template. I have templates. So my semi-private, I have templates, and my coach, Coach Mason or Coach Colin or we go through. It's like the strength section will say lower push, upper pull. Upper pull for the day is gonna be a bent over row, because you can handle it and you can do, because we learn. So another thing about going to a trainer or coach, so to knows what they're doing, they learn about you. Like you go to Planet Fitness, they don't know about you. They might know your face because you check in a few times a month. They don't know anything about you. They don't know what you can do, what you shouldn't do, what you could do, what you could be capable of doing. Like we learn what our clients can do over time. You're like, all right, you can handle a bent over row with a barbell now because your core is strong enough, your hips are strong enough to hold that weight, to hold that position. Am I going to give a beginner a barbell bent over row? No, probably not, unless they've come in from another trainer. Right. That's an outlier.
It's the progression. It's the smart progression.
That's the outlier. Right. Smart progression. I'm going to give them a one-arm bent over row because you're supported on a bench. You got a dumbbell, kettlebell. You could do, if they're coming weaker, 5-pound dumbbell. Like then we go 7.5, 10. I have 12, 15, 17s, and we progress. And the whole point of going to coaches, we're gonna push you to progress. You go to Planet Fitness, you're still gonna use that 5-pound dumbbell.
I'm guilty of that.
And like, how come I'm not getting results after month in, month out? Oh, because you're using the same weight you did 2 months ago, right? And when people start and like they haven't been in a gym before, I'm like, in 2 or 3 months you're gonna be lifting the 50-pound dumbbell, and they're starting with the 10-pound dumbbell. They're like, look at me like I have 10 heads, and I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be, because we're gonna push you to do that with good form in a safe atmosphere. Like we're gonna be right there with you.
I've watched your videos. The form on your clients is good.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so let's get that started. So I'm gonna pause those.
Hey guys, Dr. Mark here. Now I know a lot of you want to know how we get all these amazing results with our clients, and it comes down to 3 things. The first is fun fitness classes that burn a lot of calories. 2 is giving you an accountability coach to make sure you stay on track and get the best results. And 3 is the nutrition. Included in the nutrition is our food supplements. So we pair with Prestige Labs because I feel they are the best, they have integrity, and they get great results. These are actually the supplements that I take as well. Here's the awesome part. By clicking the link below, you can save 40% off the retail price. So you need that link to actually save 40%. If you just go to the normal site without my link, you're paying full price, okay? So these are the supplements my clients use. If you are interested, definitely click the link below and it'll tell you all about them.